The story of Cambodia's money begins a very long time ago. It starts in the ancient kingdom of Funan. This powerful state thrived from the 1st to the 7th centuries AD. It was, a major hub for trade. Ships from India, China, and even Rome sailed to its ports. This trade brought new ideas, new goods, and a new concept: coins. The earliest coins found in Cambodia are not Cambodian at all. They are Roman gold coins from the time of emperors like Antoninus Pius. These foreign coins show us just how connected Funan was to the rest of the world. They were a sign of wealth and power. These early coins were probably not used for everyday shopping. You would not use a Roman gold coin to buy rice at the market. Instead, they were likely used by the elite. Kings and powerful merchants used them for large transactions. They were a way to store wealth and to show off status. Archaeologists have found these coins at a site called Ok Eo. This was a major port city in the Funan kingdom. The discovery of these coins proves that Funan was a key player in a global trading network that stretched across continents. It was a place where different cultures met and exchanged valuable items. So, did the people of Funan make their own coins? The evidence suggests they did. They were inspired by coins from India. These first local coins were made of silver. They often had symbols on them. One common symbol was a rising sun. Another was a conch shell, a sacred object in Hinduism. These symbols tell us about the culture and beliefs of the time. The designs were simple, but their meaning was important. They represented power, religion, and the identity of the kingdom that made them. These coins were a big step for the region's economy. Making these coins was honestly a careful process. First, metal was melted down. It was then poured into molds to create coin blanks. These blanks were flat, circular pieces of metal. After they cooled, they were struck with a die. The die was a hard tool with a design carved into it. When the blank was hit with the die, the design was stamped onto the coin's surface. This method, known as striking, was used all over the ancient world. The coins of Funan show that the people there had the skill and technology to create their own currency, marking the beginning of Cambodia's long and complex monetary history. The Great Khmer Empire rose after the fall of Funan. This is the empire that built the magnificent temples of Angkor Wat. From the 9th to the 15th centuries, Angkor was the center of a vast and powerful civilization. They built incredible cities, huge reservoirs, and a network of roads. But there is a big puzzle for historians. For such a sophisticated and wealthy empire, there is very little evidence of widespread coin usage. We have found no official Angkorian coins that were used for daily trade. This is a strange and fascinating mystery that historians are still trying to solve. How could such a large empire function without coins? The answer seems to be a barter system. People traded goods and services directly. A farmer might trade a basket of rice for some pottery. A fisherman might exchange his catch for tools from a blacksmith. The empire's economy was based on agriculture, mainly rice. Rice itself was a form of currency. Taxes were paid in rice. Soldiers and workers were paid with rations of rice. This system worked well for a long time. It supported a huge population and funded the construction of some of the world's most amazing buildings. While coins were not used for daily transactions, that does not mean metal was not valuable. Gold and silver were highly prized. They were used by the royal court and the elite. Kings gave gifts of gold and silver to loyal officials. These precious metals were also used to create stunning statues and decorate temples. Inscriptions on temple walls sometimes mention quantities of gold and silver. These metals were a measure of wealth and a way to store it. But they were not shaped into small, standardized coins for everyone to use. The economy of Angkor was complex, just not in the way we might expect. Historians have different theories about why the Angkorian kings did not issue coins. One idea is that they simply did not need to. The barter and rice-based system was efficient enough for their needs. Another theory is that controlling the production of rice gave the king more power than controlling the production of coins. By managing the food supply, the king controlled the lifeblood of the empire. Some scholars also point to Chinese accounts from the period. These accounts describe trade at Angkor, but do not mention local coins, suggesting they truly did not exist in a widespread form. The mystery of the coinless empire remains a topic of intense debate. Just when we think there were no coins, a remarkable discovery challenges that idea. A single spectacular gold coin offers a tantalizing piece of evidence. This coin is linked to a king named Isanavarman I. He ruled the Chenla kingdom, which came before the Angkor Empire, in the early 7th century. This coin is incredibly important because it is one of the very few coins from this entire period of Cambodian history that has a king's name on it. It is a tiny object, but it speaks volumes about the past. It suggests that at least one ruler did experiment with issuing his own official currency. The coin itself is a work of art. On one side, it has a symbol. On the other side, it has an inscription written in ancient Khmer script. The inscription reads, Vra Kamraten an Isanavaman, which means, His Majesty King Isanavaman. This is direct, undeniable proof that this coin was made under his authority. It is a solid link between a specific ruler and the production of money. This makes it different from the earlier anonymous Funan coins. This coin was a clear statement of royal power. It was the king putting his personal stamp on the economy, quite literally. Why is this coin so special and so rare? We have only found a few examples of it. This suggests it was not a coin for the masses. It was likely a special issue. Perhaps it was created to celebrate a victory, to commemorate a special event, or to be given as a prestigious gift to high-ranking officials or foreign diplomats. Its value would have been enormous. It was made of gold, the most precious metal of all. Owning such a coin would have been a symbol of immense wealth and connection to the royal court. It was not for buying everyday goods. The existence of the Isanavarman I coin deepens the mystery of Angkorian money. It shows that the technology and the concept of royal coinage existed in Cambodia before the Angkor Empire began. So why did the later, even more powerful Angkorian kings not continue this practice? Did they decide it was not a good idea? Did the system fail? Or did they produce coins that we simply have not found yet? The Isanavarman coin is a key clue, but it also raises more questions than it answers. It is a tiny, shining reminder of how much we still have to learn about Cambodia's economic history. After the decline of the Angkor Empire, Cambodia entered a new phase. For centuries, the economy continued to rely on barter and trade with foreign merchants. But in the 19th century, something changed. Under rulers like King Ang Duong, Cambodia began to produce its own standardized coins on a large scale for the first time in centuries. These coins were part of a system based on the taikal. The taikal was a unit of weight, but it also became the name of the main silver coin. This marked a major shift in how the Cambodian economy worked. It was honestly a move towards a more modern monetary system. The most famous of these coins were the silver taikals. They were often decorated with beautiful and symbolic designs. A common design was the Hamza bird, a mythical creature that looks like a swan. This bird was a symbol of good fortune and royalty. On the other side, the coins would often have the date they were made and details about the king's reign. These were not crude, simple coins. They were carefully designed and minted. The mint was located near the royal palace in Odong, the capital city at the time. This shows that the production of money was under direct royal control. The taikal system was not just about one coin. It was a whole family of coins with different values. The main coin was the one taikal piece, made of silver. But there were also smaller coins for smaller purchases. These were often made of tin or copper. This meant that for the first time, people could use coins for many different types of transactions, not just large ones. A person could use a tin coin to buy a small amount of food at the market. This made trade easier and more efficient. It was a big step away from having to carry around goods for barter. However, this new system was not perfect. The quality of the coins could vary. Sometimes, the amount of silver in a taikal coin was not consistent. This could cause confusion and problems in trade. The coins were also not used everywhere in the country. In more remote areas, people likely continued to use the old ways of barter. Despite these challenges, the introduction of the taikal system was a huge development. It was an attempt by Cambodia's kings to modernize their country and strengthen their control over the economy before the arrival of European colonial powers. The late 19th century brought a dramatic change to Cambodia, and honestly, all of Southeast Asia. France established a protectorate over the kingdom in 1863. This was the beginning of the colonial era. The French had their own ideas about how an economy should be run, and they wanted to integrate Cambodia into their wider colonial empire, which they called French Indochina. A key part of this plan was to introduce a single unified currency. This meant that Cambodia's traditional taikal coins were on their way out. A new era of money was about to begin, one controlled from outside the country. First, the French introduced coins based on the French franc. You could see coins with the value 1 centime or 10 centimes appearing. These coins were minted in France and shipped to Cambodia. They often had designs that combined French and Cambodian symbols. For example, a coin might have the French rooster on one side and the Cambodian coat of arms on the other. This was a clear message. It said that Cambodia was now part of a larger French world. The local monetary system was being replaced by a foreign one. The power to create money had shifted from the Cambodian king to the colonial administration in Paris. Soon after, the French created a special currency for their entire Southeast Asian empire. This was the French Indochinese piastre. The piastre became the official currency in Cambodia, Vietnam, and Laos. The old Cambodian tikal coins were officially withdrawn from circulation. People were forced to exchange their old money for the new piastres and cents. This change was not just about economics. It was about power and control. By controlling the money supply, France could control the economy of the entire region. The piastre tied Cambodia's fate directly to the policies made by the French government. The introduction of the piastre had a huge impact. It made trade between the different parts of French Indochina much easier. It also connected the region's economy more closely to the global economy. However, it also meant the end of Cambodia's independent monetary tradition that had just been re-established. The beautiful Hamza bird tikals disappeared from the markets. They were replaced by coins with Marianne, the symbol of the French Republic. For the next 90 years, the money in a Cambodian's pocket would be a constant reminder of foreign rule. The age of the piastre marked a complete transformation of Cambodia's financial world. The mid-20th century was a time of great change around the world. Empires were crumbling, and nations were fighting for their freedom. Cambodia gained its full independence from France in 1953. One of the first things a new, independent nation does is create its own national currency. It's a powerful symbol of sovereignty and national identity. For Cambodia, this new currency was the riel. The name riel itself is thought to come from a small silver fish, the tray riel, which was so abundant in Cambodia's rivers that it was used as a common measure for trade. The new currency was born, and the French Indochinese piastre was retired. The first riel banknotes and coins were issued in 1955. They were designed to celebrate Cambodia's newfound independence and its rich cultural heritage. The coins were made of aluminum and other metals. They came in values like 10, 20, and 50 centimes, with 100 centimes making 1 riel. The designs on these new coins were proudly Cambodian. They featured images of the country's famous monuments, like Angkor Wat. They also showed scenes of everyday life, like farmers planting rice. This was a way of reconnecting with the nation's past and looking forward to a bright, independent future. The money in people's hands was finally Cambodian again. This first version of the riel was used throughout the 1950s and 1960s. This period is often remembered as a golden age of modern Cambodia. The economy was relatively stable, and the country was at peace. Coins were a normal part of daily life. You would use them to buy a drink, a newspaper, or a snack from a street vendor. They circulated alongside banknotes for larger purchases. For almost 2 decades, the riel was a successful and stable national currency. It was a source of national pride and a key part of the functioning modern economy that Cambodia was building for itself after decades of colonial rule. However, this period of stability was not to last. In 1970, a coup d'etat overthrew the monarchy and established the Khmer Republic. The country was plunged into civil war. The new government issued its own version of riel banknotes and coins. But the war caused massive economic problems, including high inflation. As prices rose rapidly, the value of the currency fell. The smaller value coins became almost worthless. This was the beginning of the end for the widespread use of coins in Cambodia. The political turmoil was about to lead to a complete and devastating collapse of the nation's economic system. The darkest chapter in Cambodia's history began in 1975 when the Khmer Rouge took power. They had a radical and brutal vision for the country. They wanted to create a purely agrarian communist society with no outside influences. To achieve this, they abolished everything they considered part of the old, corrupt world. This included markets, schools, religion, and most shockingly, money itself. The Khmer Rouge blew up the National Bank of Cambodia in Phnom Penh. They completely eliminated the riel. For nearly 4 years, Cambodia became a country with no currency at all. Life returned to a primitive system of forced labor and rationing. After the fall of the Khmer Rouge in 1979, Cambodia had to rebuild itself from nothing. The country was devastated, its people traumatized, and its economy was non-existent. One of the first steps in rebuilding was to reintroduce a currency. A new version of the riel was created in 1980. However, the country was still facing immense challenges. Years of war and genocide had destroyed people's trust in institutions, including banks and money. The new riel currency suffered from extremely high inflation in its early years. Its value was very low, and it was not stable. This history of instability and trauma had a lasting effect on how people use money in Cambodia. Because of the high inflation in the 1980s and 1990s, people preferred to use more stable foreign currencies for large transactions, especially the US dollar. The riel was used, but mainly for smaller, everyday purchases. The government did mint new coins in 1994. These came in values of 50, 100, 200, and 500 riel. They were meant to be used for daily transactions. However, they never really became popular. Their value was very low, and people found it more convenient to use small denomination banknotes instead. Today, if you visit Cambodia, you will almost never see coins in circulation. The economy operates almost entirely with banknotes for riel transactions, and with US dollars for anything over a few dollars. The coins minted in 1994 are now mostly sold as souvenirs to tourists. The long-term effects of war, genocide, and economic collapse have created a unique situation. Although Cambodia has its own official coins, they are not a practical part of daily life. The preference for paper money and the widespread use of the US dollar mean that coins have effectively vanished from the Cambodian economy. A strange fate for a country with such a long monetary history. Finding ancient and medieval Cambodian coins is incredibly difficult. This makes them highly prized by collectors and historians. There are several reasons for this rarity. One of the main reasons is the climate. Cambodia is a tropical country with heavy monsoon rains. For centuries, most coins that were lost or buried have been exposed to moisture and acidic soil. Metals like silver, copper, and tin corrode and break down over time under these conditions. Unlike in dry desert climates where artifacts can be preserved for thousands of years, the Cambodian environment is harsh. Many coins have simply dissolved and returned to the earth. Another major factor is the historical upheaval the country has faced. Centuries of warfare, invasions, and civil unrest have led to the destruction of cities and historical sites. During these chaotic times, people often buried their valuables, including coins, for safekeeping. They hoped to come back and dig them up when things were safe again. Sadly, many people never returned. These hidden hoards of coins are still buried across the country. Some are found by accident by farmers plowing their fields, but many more are likely lost forever. The recent tragedy of the Khmer Rouge era also led to the destruction and looting of countless cultural artifacts. The materials used to make the coins also play a part in their rarity. While gold, like the Asanavarman I coin, survives very well, it was always extremely scarce. Most everyday coins from the pre-colonial era would have been made from less precious metals. As we saw with the Angkorian Empire, a widespread coin system did not even exist for a very long period. This means there are centuries worth of history with no coins to find at all. For the periods when coins were made, like in Funan, or during the 19th century, the total number of coins minted was likely much smaller than in larger empires like Rome or China. Important discoveries are therefore very exciting for historians. The finds at the ancient port of Ak Ao gave us the Funan coins. Occasional discoveries of 19th century tickle hoards give us new information about King Ang Duong's mint. Museums like the National Museum of Cambodia in Phnom Penh work hard to preserve these rare finds. They hold the most important collections of Cambodian coinage. These collections are vital for researchers who are trying to piece together the puzzle of the country's economic past. Every single coin that is found and preserved is a precious piece of a much larger and largely missing story. After journeying through 2,000 years of history, we can piece together the main story of Cambodian coinage. We know for certain that the story begins with trade. Ancient Funan used Roman coins and then created its own silver currency inspired by Indian designs. This shows it was a sophisticated kingdom connected to the wider world. We also know that a few rare and beautiful gold coins were made by early kings, like Asanavarman I. This proves that the idea of a royal currency existed very early on. These are solid facts, backed by archaeological evidence that we can see and touch. We also know for certain what happened in more recent centuries. We have clear evidence of the 19th century silver tikal system. The coins themselves, with their Hamza bird designs, tell the story of a Cambodian king's attempt to build a modern state. We know that this system was swept away by French colonialism. The introduction of the piastre is well documented. We can trace the transition to the independent riel after 1953. And we can see the devastating impact of the Khmer Rouge, who destroyed the country's monetary system completely. The current situation, with the dominance of banknotes and the US dollar, is the clear result of this turbulent history. However, huge gaps and mysteries remain. The biggest puzzle is still the Angkorian Empire. Why did such a vast and powerful civilization, capable of building Angkor Wat, not produce a system of coinage for everyday use? Was the barter system of rice and goods truly sufficient for such a complex society? While we have theories, we have no definitive answer. It is a debate that continues to fascinate and divide historians. The lack of physical evidence means we have to rely on interpretations of temple inscriptions and foreign accounts, which can be ambiguous and incomplete. The story of Cambodian coinage is therefore not finished. There is still so much we do not know. What other types of early coins might still be buried under the soil? Were there other kings who tried to issue their own currency, whose coins are still lost? Archaeologists, historians, and numismatists, experts in coins, are still working to find answers. New discoveries, even of a single coin, could change our understanding of the past. The history of money in Cambodia is a perfect example of how much we can learn from small objects, and how much more treasure, both literal and intellectual, may still be